going on, people? Obviously, my name is Kwame here with the Backpage. We've got quite a few people in here today, you know, so we're gonna go through it. To the left of me, I do have Hassan, who is currently a Chelsea coach. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, he's working at the academy. And then we also have Malachi.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yeah. You want to say hello, Malachi?
Hi.
All right. Make sure you pull the mic a bit closer to you so you can. Yeah, that's it. Get comfortable. Yeah, because we're gonna be here for a little while. We're gonna be talking to Hassan. Obviously, just try and get a bit more of an insight in terms of what it's like to play in an academy. I mean, I heard that he's been involved in an academy himself, you know, playing at Arsenal when he was younger. So it'd be really, really good to get a few tips and advice for some of the young guns that we have here as well. And who else do we have on the other side?
Shay.
We got Shay. Hello, Shay. You're wearing the Arsenal top. That's good. That's a good start. So yeah, boy, I don't even know how to get into it, but yeah, Hassan, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me.
No, thanks for coming down.
Thank you for inviting me. Really appreciate it.
We really appreciate you coming down, man, honestly. So, like, just tell us about yourself. I mean, I got a little gist of where you came from, like, Northwest. I think you was brought up in North. Is that correct?
Correct.
What was it like for you, you know, growing up in terms of football? How did it start for you in terms of where you fell in love with football?
I wouldn't say I was in love with football, if I'm honest.
Okay.
And I never had my heart set on playing football.
Right.
I was born in South London.
Okay.
I moved to Northwest London when I was 9 years old. And that's when I actually really started playing football.
Okay.
So being in South London, we played football a few times in the cages and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But when I moved to Northwest London, I went to a school in Hendon. And one of my mates in my class, his dad owned a football team, Forest United.
Okay.
So he said, "Oh, Hass, come and play for my dad's football team." I went to go and play a game for them. Never even had a pair of football boots, so he gave me a pair of Adidas Predators. I'll never forget. And I gave him £10.
£10.
£10.
That's a bargain.
So my first pair of boots were Adidas Predators.
Bargain,
paid £10, and ever since then, that was how I fell into football. I wouldn't say I was in love with it. I would say it was a gift that I never knew I had. So as a boy, I never had my heart set on playing football. It was more a case of falling or discovering a gift that I didn't know I had.
Okay.
So that's how I got involved in the sport.
Right. And you say, what team you support?
Spurs. Come on, Spurs.
Man, this guy, man. What's this?
Come on.
Sammy, why are you bringing these Spurs fans on this thing?
Come on, Spurs.
On,
Listen, Arsenal are just as bad, so Arsenal can't say a word.
We're going through a sticky situation at the moment.
You've been going through a sticky situation.
Yeah, we've been. It's a transitional period, you know what I mean? So
they say.
But have you always supported Spurs since young, or was it?
Yeah, Spurs have always been my team. My dad is a Spurs fan, so that's where it came from.
Wicked.
So I kind of had no choice in the matter, to be honest. But I have grown to love Tottenham, and Tottenham are my team. In football, you don't change teams. So even when Tottenham were going through the bad patches,
that's a true fan, isn't it? It's a true fan.
We're still going through bad patches.
Yeah, man. It's the up and the downs. But last season, you had a good season. I can't lie. You had a good season.
We've had a good few seasons.
Yeah, no, it was just that one.
No, we've had a good few seasons. We were on top of Arsenal for a little bit, you know.
But it's not about that, is it? It's not really about that, Hassan. It's about the bigger picture. Nah, you know what? Honestly, I'm a gooner, but I'm a big lover and a big respect for what Spurs have done over the last couple of years in terms of like moving to a new stadium and building up their team. And what Poch done with with your team was like really good. But obviously I didn't like it, but I have to respect it. And it would have been the worst thing if you lot won the Champions League, boy. Yeah,
I wish we would.
It was one of those ones, but no, that's good. That's good to hear. So, did you have any footballers in your family? Like, you know,
no. So no one in my family played football. You know, every Nigerian parent claims they played football in Nigeria, when no one knew them. But my dad used to play a little bit in Peckham.
Okay.
Funny enough, and he was a decent striker.
Right.
I never really saw him score a goal, but apparently he was a decent striker.
Okay.
So when he would take me to Peckham when I was, 8, 9, 10 years old, I would play with all the uncles and run around, and I would be good. But my dad played a little bit, but he wasn't a footballer.
Right.
That's about as close as it got.
Okay. So then you moved. So how was it that you got discovered by Arsenal? You know what I mean? How was it? Talk us through it. Was you playing for the school or something, or it just random?
So the first 3 or 4 years of my football journey, I would say were amazing.
Okay.
So playing Sunday football was brilliant because I was the quickest.
Yeah.
And in my team, I think there was only maybe 3 or 4 black boys, and
right.
we're all quick, but I was the only one that played in an attacking position.
Okay.
So I just got all the goals. Anything over the top, I was onto.
So you was a striker. You're a striker.
I was a striker. No, I'm not a striker, but I was a striker.
All right.
So I had a good couple of years. I'll cut a long story short. Couple of years playing Sunday football. Then I went to a Tottenham summer camp in Chigwell with 2 players ran the camp. I don't know if you guys would know them. The young boys in here definitely wouldn't. But Justin Edinburgh, I believe he's passed away now, and David Kerslake. So I went to a soccer school with those 2 in Chigwell. I did really well. And I think I won every single competition that was there.
And balancing school and then football, like, you know, being... How was that for you?
The biggest challenge probably came at 15, 16 when it got close to scholarship time. And, you know, I'm doing my GCSEs and, you know, we're Nigerian, so mummy's on me. Daddy's like, go to football. Mummy's like, no, read your book. So it's like trying to balance. Yeah. I wouldn't say it was a conflict. It's just trying to make sure that I had the best of both worlds. Yeah. So that was a challenge within itself, but I'm not stupid. I'm actually academically quite savvy. I'm not an A student, but I'm certainly a B student. And if I worked harder, I could be an A. I later got a first-class degree, but we'll come to that. So it's trying to balance both, and again, cut a long story short, in the end, I ended up getting maybe 9 or 10 GCSEs, A to C. Didn't get any A's. I think I got maybe 3 or 4 B's, the rest C's, and I think I actually did get a D in French because I couldn't be bothered to be French. But yeah, in the end, I got my GCSEs and I ended up getting my scholarship at Arsenal. But balancing the 2 was challenging because your mind is so fixed and focused on being this professional, you know, and all the glitz and glamour that goes with it, that you almost neglect the academics. Yeah. But I do believe in having the academics because it doesn't only shape you as a person, it shapes your mind. And I think you need to use your brain, you need to use your mind when you're on the field of play. And I do believe it challenges you and allows you to develop maturely, especially emotionally. You know, you talk about cognitive development for the players. I believe it's really important to have the balance of the 2. Of course. So I always promote it when it comes to the young boys. And as well, parents always say you never know what could happen. And that's not a cliche. Anything could happen.
Released.
Anything. Yeah. You could fall out of the game at any time. You could fall out at 18, you could fall out at 24. And if you fall out, and we'll come to that as well when I started coaching, but when you've got no academics, you're almost in limbo. And a lot of footballers, when they do fall out, they don't know what to do. All they've known is football.
Go through depression. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we'll definitely touch on that.
Sorry, Kwame. How when you was like in your teens, how hard was it in terms of like the social aspect? Kind of like wanting to either like chill out with your friends, but you still have to go training.
Sacrifice.
The sacrifices that you made. How hard was it for you?
At school, when I was with the boys, it was challenging. I went to Bishop Douglas, by the way. So it was challenging because when you're with a man them, and you want to do everything that they're doing. So when they would do little things like smoke, they'd be like, nah, Hass, you're not smoking, we'll punch you up. You need to make it. And I'd be, oh, here we go. So on one side, they understood the journey that I was on, and I loved them for it because they respected me as a person. They respected my values, and they understood the path that I was on in terms of trying to pursue my football career. And at times, it was hard for me to sacrifice in terms of not going to a lot of the parties. I'm not saying I didn't go out. I did go out, but within reason. Sometimes I would leave early, and I'd be the only one who left. But I had to. I was on a different pathway. You know, when I was a scholar, summertime, I'm training this pre-season. They're going out. You know, they would go little things like carnival, and they would go and I wouldn't go, or I would sometimes. I think there was a couple of years where I would go later. to go and meet them when they all left early because I was at training. So little things like that, they're difficult to sacrifice, but when you've got your eyes on a prize, those things count for very little. It doesn't really matter, they're insignificant. So it was a little bit challenging, but I had friends that understood and they were happy to almost push me in the direction of football and not get involved in some of the things that they got involved in.
Right.
So like, you have obviously there's teenagers here. What kind of advice would you give them in terms of that aspect of the social aspect? Would you tell them to concentrate on football or try and find the balance?
I think with everything, it's about balance. You also have to be very honest with yourself, and a lot of footballers, a lot of young boys today who aspire to be footballers, I'm not sure how honest they are. I see a lot of social media players, you know, they catch the 30 seconds highlight, the 15-second highlight, 60-second highlight on Instagram as an example, and that's what I want to do. And I think that's a false perception of what football is. They don't see what goes on behind closed doors. They don't understand the sacrifice that it comes with. And then also how good you really are. Everyone believes that they can play. But not everyone can play. And a lot of players, when they say, you know, I want to be a footballer,
They don't really
I'm honest. I'll say, you're not going to make it, mate. And as harsh as it might sound, I've been in the game. And I kind of understand it. And maybe a lot of coaches who are at these academies should be more honest. But the truth is, a lot of players are not going to make it.
Are you honest? Sorry to cut in as well with it. Are you honest to the players as well as the parents, or like do you tell the parents as well, pull them to the side, or is it just more of a thing where you're just?
Are you talking about academy now?
Yeah, just quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we're going to talk about our academy players, as a coach, I believe that we have to be transparent as possible. You have to be honest, and that's honest with the level that the players currently playing at and the stage that they're at in their development. The majority of players in academies, everyone knows they're not all going to make it. But if I as a coach can be honest with the stage of development that the child is at, I believe that I'm not doing that child a disservice, or the parent. And I always try to, and I don't know if any of the players' parents that I coach will ever hear this, but when I'm coaching and when I have my parent meetings, I do try to put across the message of where their child currently is at. And I think that's important because it gives them something to hold on to. It gives them context in terms of where the child is. And it lets the child know what he needs to do to improve. So that's the approach that I try to take. Of course you can't, and I think it'll be unethical for me to say to a player in the academy system, you ain't gonna make it. I think that's wrong. Because again, players develop at different rates throughout academy systems, and some will go on to make it, and because you're the best player now doesn't necessarily mean you'll be the best player later. But boys who aren't in academies, I think the decision making process when a coach speaks to a player is a little bit easier to make, because they're not playing at the same level and they don't necessarily have the same qualities as a lot of the players in academies. So my level of honesty slightly differs when I'm talking to boys at grassroots or when I'm talking to academy players.
I wish I had you as a coach.
You've kind of coached on, you have coached on two ends of the spectrum in terms of like, you've coached my age group when I was like in my teens, and you're in a position where you're in an academy. How important is like support from parents to support their children in this kind of like especially this specific journey of their career? How important is it for parents to get behind their children?
I would say it's really, really important. However, I've seen parents who do too much. And I've seen parents who do too little. And I've seen parents who do nothing. And I've seen a lot of parents who do nothing and the players are superstars. And then all the parents turn up when he signs at 18, and all of a sudden he's got aunties, uncles, nieces, nephews, mum and dad who haven't been talking are now talking. So I've seen it all. So there are different dynamics for different players and players with different mindsets and different upbringings. I would say that a parent's support is is good. I wouldn't say it's everything, but it is important for a parent to understand the process more than anything. So understand the journey, to understand what it means for your son to be at an academy, to understand how you can support him, and not feel as though you take it into your own hands. You take his development, his football development, into your own hands. So it is important, if you ask me. I think any career that your parent gets involved with is important, because undoubtedly you'll be able to advise your son better. You'll be able to make better informed decisions, and ultimately it's going to benefit the child. So I would say it's important for parents to get involved. For me, my dad was football. My mum was involved at the beginning, but my mum would get in the car sometimes and she'll try to analyse my game and tell me I was rubbish. That would hurt me. It's like, what are you talking about? You don't even want... And there were a couple of times I would cry. I'd be like, why is mommy treating me like this? And eventually it was like, all right, mum, stay at home. I don't want you to come anymore. So mum didn't get involved and she stayed out of it. And then dad used to ask me all the questions and try and support. And even then, sometimes he would give me, once he gave me the look when I get off the pitch, boy, I try and sit in the back of the car.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. So, all right. So let's go back. But that was very insightful. That last 5-10 minutes where you was talking about coaching and the dynamics, different parents, and that was really, really good. I wanted to go back to also about when you was at Arsenal. You're at the academy. You're playing with, some of the best youngsters in the area or in the country. How can I say it? How was it for you, like, going up then against opposition? What was like the toughest teams for you that you played against? What was teams where you was like, whoa, or games where you was like, whoa, this team is going to be difficult, because the way that they're drilled, the way that they know exactly what they're doing on the pitch. What if you could maybe give us a little insight into that?
Honestly, at Arsenal, we had the best academy. Like, no one can touch Arsenal. If you ask anyone in those days, I'm talking, late 90s, early 2000s, Arsenal were the club. That was the only academy to play for. So there weren't really anyone that could touch us. I mean, when I think about Chelsea at the time, they were good, but they weren't on Arsenal's level. Now it's a lot different. Tables have definitely turned.
It's turned a lot.
Tottenham were okay. We didn't really play many of the teams up north because of the distance, as you can imagine. But a team that always gave us problems were Millwall. You would never believe it.
Was that, in terms of like the mentality you're saying about, did you always have that mentality? I know you said that you was confident before, but in terms of Arsenal, how was the ethos around the club? Was it, they made you feel, because I mean, I've come into contact with a few Arsenal youngsters, and like I said to you before we started the podcast, I knew J. Emmanuel Thomas, and it was just something, he was younger than me, but you know what I mean, like that mentality, the confidence, the way that he used to move was just like, he knew he was good, he knew he was better than a lot of players, and obviously he played like that on the pitch. Was that something that was coached into your game, or was that something that, obviously, like, I know you said that you had it originally, but how was it? Did they push that upon you in Arsenal, within Arsenal?
I think being associated with Arsenal, you grew with confidence regardless. You almost became this unbeatable force as a unit. As an individual, if I'm going to be transparent with you guys, I would say in my early years, I was extremely confident in myself. I wouldn't say I was super talented, but I was a good footballer. As I got older, I don't know if my confidence dipped or dropped, but I would say I wasn't as hungry as I should have been.
Right.
And that's not to say that, again, I wasn't good. I was good, but I got to a stage in my football career where I kind of almost, I wouldn't say I gave up, but there were a lot of factors that didn't allow me to progress and push myself as far as I possibly could. Like, I always ask the question, if it's something that you love doing, how far are you willing to go? And when I reflect on my football career, there's a lot more I could have done. I could have been more ruthless. I could have been a lot more hungry in my work ethic. I could have, gone to clubs that I wouldn't necessarily have wanted to play for, but it's what I wanted to do. And when I think about some players who, would travel to these crazy countries to play football, travel up north.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I travelled up north and I played for Wigan for a year.
Yeah, I'm going to touch on that.
And that was decent. That was really good. It was a good experience for me, being up there, and I think I was the only black boy in my team.
Wow.
Like, things like that is different, and Sam would know what that feels like.
He's told us
So I made some sacrifices, but I would say my confidence, as I got older, my confidence dipped, and then you almost go through stages, peaks and troughs where you're really up and then you're really down. But being associated and affiliated with Arsenal in general, because they were the best in the country, would breed confidence.
So what types of play? Name a few names that you know that you played or that you was in the same kind of level with in Arsenal. Like some players that made it through.
There's loads. So at the time when we would train. So my age group, boys that you would know in my age group were Quincy Owusu-Bay, Samoji's a local lad round here. Ryan Smith, again, local lad round here. He was younger, but he would sometimes play up. Who else? Sebastian Larsson. He had a good career, played in the Premier League for a number of years.
How was he playing with, like, seeing him in the academy? How was he? Could you see it? Could you see, I always say that, could you see, like, certain players that you play with or you train with at Arsenal, you're like, yeah, you could make it.
Do you know what? Some you can and some you can't. And when you're playing, you're blinded by how good others are. And now that I'm a coach, I can spot potential.
Right, yeah.
And when I was a player, although I could see a little bit of potential, I'm like, I could do that. That's not fair. I'm not playing. Why are they not playing me?
Yeah.
And as a player, you don't see that, but as a coach, you spot potential. So I remember when Cesc Fabregas came, and he was 16. He came off the back of the Under-16 World Cup, and I think he got player of the tournament. He came, and we could see he was good, but we were like, they don't need him.
How old was you when he came in?
We were second year, so we were under 18s.
So then having Cesc Fabregas come into the fold, you're just kind of like, who's this young buck, or you know what I mean?
He came in and and he was playing, and then I think maybe after a couple of sessions, he got the first team. The first team. One of the coaches came over and said, they need Cesc, and we're like, what? Who does he think he is? Like, he's not that good. But they clearly could see something we couldn't see. And now I'm a coach, I can see potential.
Right.
Whereas then, we were all about performance. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's the best. He's got the most skills, he's the best. Whereas Cesc wasn't that way inclined. He was pull off into space, receive back foot, find a pass. And we couldn't see that. We couldn't see the potential.